Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great today. Okay, so this is an emergency broadcast, and I'm going to plead with you right now that when you see this video, please, as widely as you possibly can, try and share this video. Now, if you're very active on social media, you must have seen the video that came out of Uganda, I think about a week ago, and that video has been trending ever since. And this was a video of something very bizarre and almost unbelievable that happened in Uganda regarding the death of a so-called COVID-19 patient. Yeah. So it was alleged that the government of Uganda had called onto a family, a Ugandan family, and told them that one of their loved ones had passed on, that he died of coronavirus disease. And so when they got that news, they began to mourn. And then the government went ahead and told them, allegedly, that they needed to prepare for the burial of this person. And so the people prepared for burial, and both them and their relatives and so many other people gathered on the day of burial. And just like it's done in so many other countries, Uganda had a place where they buried people who died of coronavirus disease. So people gathered over there. Now, on that day of the burial, they saw the government health officials clad in their hazmat suits, accompanied by the Ugandan police, and they came with the casket, with the dead body. Now, when people came close, got a little closer to casket, the government officials told them, no, spread aside. You have to keep a distance. And the people were like, okay. And they were like, no, you need to keep a distance. But apparently what happens in Uganda is that when someone dies, they have a tradition of viewing the face of the deceased before he is buried. So most often than not, when they build their caskets, they always have a glass viewing window on one end of the casket, which is where the head of the deceased is supposed to be. Now, this particular casket that they brought actually had the same viewing window. But funny enough, what happened was that they had gone to cover that glass viewing window with a brown paper or maybe a cardboard or something. And the people kind of became a little more curious and more suspicious, like, what in the world? How come you won't let us see the face of our deceased brother? How can you cover even the place? That's what raised a lot of suspicion. And then it was alleged that the most senior member of that family who was on that burial ground decided he summoned courage, and he then stepped forward to go and ask the authorities to make sure they open the casket so that he could at least view the face of his deceased brother. That was what happened. And so when he summoned courage, all the other people who were told to stand aside suddenly began to close in on the casket and the government officials. And as he was demanding, they also joined him to demand that the casket be opened, since they could not open the viewing window that is on the casket. They've already covered it. Now the people say, you must open the entire casket and show us the dead body that is inside the casket. And guess what happened when they opened the casket? It was Irish potatoes wrapped in a blanket. Irish potatoes, the same one that you cook and eat. That's what they had in the casket to bury, just to give people the impression that, oh my gosh, the coronavirus death toll is rising so much. This third variant, the Delta Indian variant, is becoming even more dangerous than all the other two variants. Oh, Africa is in trouble. We need to be on lockdown. You need to close the borders. You need to do this, restrict movement, stop this, stop that. All are the reason. These are all the reasons why they did this. What does that tell you about the quality of leadership we have on the continent of Africa? How can a government consciously, willingly do something this way? It tells you about the times in which we live today. You can't trust anybody. There's no one to trust anymore. You want to give people the impression that it's spreading like wildfire. So this is to let you know that when we say there's going to be another lockdown, it is not conspiracy theory. It is reality, and it is coming. Because as I speak to you right now, this very moment, I am told that much of Uganda is already on lockdown. That's what I am told. And I also have confirmed that some of the other surrounding nations around Uganda have started closing their borders, preparing themselves for another lockdown. And I also got an unconfirmed report, and I have to make it clear it's unconfirmed, but I have actually the document. I have it in my hands. I have it in my possession, rather. That document implies that the UK is about to go on another lockdown. Remember, UK was supposed to lift their lockdown officially, then they extended by 1 month, and now before that 1 month expires, we hear that another lockdown is on the way coming. And this time around, the lockdown we are expecting to happen is not going to be the kind of lockdown you saw in 2020. It's going to be a massive, terrible lockdown, such that you will not be able to breathe at all. You will not be able to do anything. And whatever plan they had for the lockdown trial they had in 2020, all of it will be executed at this time. Let me tell you, what you saw in 2020 that made so many people say they want to go and commit suicide is a child's play, is kindergarten compared to what is coming right now. Because that was just nothing but a trial. That was just a dry run, a test run. What is coming now is the real end game. And I am making this video, and I called it an emergency broadcast because I know that many people are not going to be prepared for what is coming. And that's why I'm saying I have to warn you. You need to know that this is a game that has been planned and is going to be executed. Did you see the G7 meeting that happened in Europe recently? The one that Biden attended and all of them were there? Did you see what they came up with? They came up with a decision to supply 1 billion doses of the coronavirus vaccines to poor countries, poor nations. Who are the poor nations they're talking about? It is you and I in Africa. And so this is what is going on. On the continent of Africa, even a dead man, even an unborn child knows that the greatest problem we have in Africa is poverty, lack of economic empowerment, lack of clean drinking water, enough food supply for families. These are the major problems we have on the continent of Africa. But these people did not think it wise to find a way to help us alleviate all of this suffering on the continent. The only thing they found worthy to do was to supply you with doses of their vaccine to cure a disease they think will come to you. But the real disease we've been dealing with on the continent of Africa for generations, nobody cares about that. And you are not thinking anything about this. This is why you need to know that this stuff is serious. G7 has promised, and from the moment they made that promise, you notice that immediately after that G7 meeting, many things began to happen in different. That was when I started hearing that so many other countries in Africa have started already having lockdown measures, putting lockdown measures in place. Many of them have already started locking down some of their cities and districts. I am told in Uganda now you can't move from one district to the other. That's what I am told. I don't know how true that is. But I hear that most of Uganda is under lockdown. And not only Uganda, a few other African countries. Very soon we won't be able to move around. You won't be able to move from one place to another. And then all the draconian plans they have because of this, they will begin to execute it. And this is why they want to have tyrants in power all across Africa. This is the point. Look at Nigeria today. Food crisis. There's so much poverty rising. Nigeria is becoming like a shadow of itself. So imagine another lockdown, which of course it's on the way coming. Whether you want to believe it or not, whether you like it or not, I'm only here to inform you. It's coming. So imagine this next lockdown with the way things are in Nigeria right now. Who on earth is prepared for that? I remember what happened when the other lockdown happened. They never gave you enough notice. I think it was about 24 to 48 hours or 72 hours at most that people had to prepare themselves. What would that amount of time do for you to prepare for your family? The family of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What would you prepare within just a few days for a lockdown that will probably stretch for only God knows how long? That's why I'm telling you this. When that happened, did you not notice how much money I was raising to feed people? I raised millions of naira. I was sending money to people who once had a good job, who had things that was bringing money to them. Their money disappeared in just a short while. When you don't do any work and you are home just feeding your family or eating, that's when you know how quickly money runs. When there's no income coming in. Imagine that you're going to be locked down. Nobody's giving you money for the days you're losing and the hours you're losing. You're just going to be feeding with whatever you have saved. And when it finishes, you are ready to die. You can die. Nobody cares. Imagine that coming on you and you're not properly prepared. This is why I said this is an emergency broadcast. Wherever you are listening to this, prepare for another lockdown. I'm telling you this as a brother. Prepare for another lockdown because it is coming. Take my word for it. We can always live in denial if we want. You know, that's what happens to a lot of us. We love to live in denial. Oh, I beg. I mean, look at all the things. You know, that's what happens with the frog. The slow-cooked frog, eh? You know, when you put the frog in the cool water and then you start heating the water gets a little warm and the frog just feels, oh, this is so cool, warm water. And that's how the feeling keeps going until the water heats up. And by the time the frog is cooked, it's already too late for the frog to make an escape. This is what they're doing. They are slow cooking us like frogs in the warm water. I want you to be prepared. I don't know what you can do. I don't know what you're able to do. If you ask me, oh, Brother Joe, what do we do? You see, there's so much poverty. There's so much, this, so much that, so much that. I don't know what you can do. I can only pass the message across to you, and then it is up to you to do whatever you can to protect yourself. Protect yourself. Make provisions. If it is 1 naira you've got, if it is 1 penny you've got, if it is 1 peso you've got, if it is $1 you've got, if it is 1 kwacha you've got, if it's one anything, whatever your currency is, begin to save. Begin to save. Begin to put things together. Even if it is one little thing that is perished, just get them, put them somewhere and store food. Store things. Store physical cash with you. I am telling you this, guys. This is going to happen. They are bent on doing it. There is no going. Take my word. I say there's no going back. It's going to happen. That's why we're telling you our world is wrapping up. And you think it's fanaticism, or maybe you think it's conspiracy theory. But when it happens, I hope you're able to stand it. I don't want you to be taken unawares. I want you to be prepared. That's why I'm your brother. That's why I'm always there to sound the alarm. And I'm sounding it again right now. Please prepare. Please prepare. Whatever it is, get ready to farm in your compound. Start having gardens. Get ready to do things that you have never done before. Things that you never conceived in your mind that you would ever do. Be flexible. Be ready. Because as you see things moving smoothly around the world, when they want to do what they want to do, they will just make it happen so abruptly, so quick, that you will not even be able to stand the shock. They're not going to give you any clues. Because whenever they want to do stuff, they want to make sure that they give you the impression that everything is okay. But there are a few that God has appointed to see and look into the future and tell you exactly what is happening, either by prophetic injunction or by proper research. And that's what we do. I'm begging of you, get ready. Don't be caught unawares. It is coming. And they're going to call it the Indian or Delta variant. That's what they're going to blame it on. They're going to say this variant is very dangerous. It kills faster. So we need to lock down everywhere because the whole world is about to die. Meanwhile, the so-called lockdown will kill even more people than the virus itself is going to be able to kill. This is the plan. This is the game. This is what we found ourselves in. I don't think anybody can change this anymore. We can only just prepare and pray and trust that the Lord, the King of glory, the God of all creation, that he will look down on us with pity and save us.